Hello everyone, welcome to SLNSIA's Academy's Current Affairs classes. So let us see all the important news articles which are there in the current affairs, which are very much important for our competitive exam preparation. So let us start our discussion with the first important scheme, which is called as Ayushman Vaya Vandana card. Okay, so this is very much important for our prelims and mains. Okay, so this welfare scheme, which is related to health, is very much important because it is part of the human resource development. Human resource development. So we all know that in India, we have the maximum number of people in their young age. Okay, India is one of the youngest countries in the entire world. So what we need right now is the human resource development. Then only we can turn the mankind, that is the young people, the youth, into the human resource. So what we need to provide? So to turn this youth into the human resource, we need to provide them education, skills of employability, and proper health services in the country. Then only the people can become useful human resources, which in turn help the development of the nation. So now, as part of Ayushman Bharat, which is an umbrella scheme, this included the Ayushman Vaya Vandana card. So this was initially mentioned in the union budget of last year, 2024-25 budget. This scheme has been announced. Okay, so what is the eligibility to become a card holder? So it is the 70 years or above age. So it is not the retirement age of 60s, but a person who crossed 70 years of age can become the Ayushman Vaya Vandana card holder. So how can he become the card holder? He has to register it in the app or portal. Okay, so what is that app or portal? Ayushman Bharat PMJ. So the Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana portal or app. Through the registration, the persons who crossed 70 years of age can become the card holder. Okay, so irrespective of the income status or economic background. So the aged person can be a poor fellow or a rich man. Anyone can become the part of this. Okay, so what is the benefit of it? So it provides a health coverage of 5 lakh rupees per family. You have to remember this, it is not the individual. So it is the family as a whole, not individual. So let's say in our family, we have grandmother and grandfather who crossed the age of 70 years. Then suddenly because of some ailment, we have joined them in some hospital. Then the 5 lakhs will be shared among those two people. Okay, so 5 lakhs is the maximum amount per family. Okay, next. So next we have the employees of the State Insurance Corporation, that is ESI. So in states we have ESI hospitals. So ESI, along with this ESI and also private health insurance patients can also avail this card facilities, these benefits. Okay, so even though they have the ESI facilities, or if the patient is enrolled with the private insurance companies, they can also avail the benefits of this card. So this is one important scheme you have to remember, where it provides the secondary and tertiary healthcare services. So covering almost 2000 plus diseases or ailments. let's say if a person has registered today, he need not wait for the benefits to be availed. From day one itself, he can avail the benefits for his existing diseases. Let's say a person is having cancer. So from day one, he can get cancer treatment using this card. But for example, why we need to mention this? Because for example, in the private insurance companies, if we register, there will be certain waiting period, and after that only we will have to avail the benefits of the insurance. So it is not in this case of this scheme. Okay, so that is the speciality. So here we have the secondary and tertiary health benefits for the old age population. And what is the coverage? It covers more than 2,000 different ailments and diseases. Okay, so this is about the one important health scheme. Next, we have the Erramatti Dibbalu, or the red sand hills. So where are these located? These are located in Visakhapatnam, a very prime city in the Andhra Pradesh state. Okay, so why is it in news? Because of its UNESCO status. Okay, so recently this site, the Erramatti Dibbalu in Visakhapatnam, has been added to UNESCO's tentative list of the World Heritage Site. So what is World Heritage Site? So World Heritage Site is a site having cultural importance. Where it is having outstanding universal value. So there are 6 important criteria of cultural significance. So that particular site must outstand the cultural significance in a outstanding universal value. So what are the examples of the World Heritage Sites? Of course, the Taj Mahal, right? The beautiful construction Taj Mahal. We have Rani Ki Vav in Gujarat. So what is it? It is a stepwell, etc. So these are the World Heritage Sites. Okay, so it has joined the tentative list. So in future, it is having a chance to become the World Heritage Centers. So we need to know the features of the red sand hills. So it is a rare coastal geomorphological formations. Means what? It is a rare landscape which has been carved in the coastal plains. Okay, landscape or landform. So what is the composition of these hills? It is made up of sand, silt and clay. So sand, silt, clay together, they became hills, which we are calling it as red sand hills. Okay, why is the color red there for these sands? Because of the oxidation process. So what is this oxidation process? Whenever you cut an apple and you put it in the natural weather, not natural room environment, room temperature, it will become reddish in color. Why? Because of the process of oxidation. So because of thousands and thousands of years of oxidation, this area has become red in color, reddish in color. So that is the reason for its reddish color. So coming to the geological significance. So it belongs to late Quaternary geological age. So we all know that our Earth is around 4.6 billion years old. So this period has been divided into different ages for studying the evolution of Earth. Okay, so this landform has been formed in the late Quaternary geological age. Okay, you need to remember this. Next, what is the archaeological importance? So, as part of our history, in the prehistoric age, we studied about Paleolithic age, we studied about Mesolithic age, Neolithic age, Chalcolithic, then IVC, etc. Right? So the earliest period in the prehistoric age is the Paleolithic age, and it belongs to the upper Paleolithic age, which around the 20,000 BC. 20,000 years of the BC age it is belonging to. So in history, this is the history part which is very important for this site. Next, so what is the other recognitions it is already having? So it is declared as National Geo-Heritage Monument by the Geological Survey of India in which year? 2016. So National Geo-Heritage Monument in 2016. So are there any such sites in the world as of now? Yes, we have two similar kind of structures, one in Sri Lanka and the second one in the Tamil Nadu. So these are the two places which we have similar kind of structure, red sand hills. So these are different things you need to remember related to this important current affairs, right? Next, recently Prime Minister Narendra Modi has inaugurated bamboo-based ethanol plant. Okay, so bioethanol. So what is this biofuels? First of all, we need to have an understanding on biofuels. So, from the biological, or we can say organic materials, we are extracting fuels for our use. So, conventionally, we have been using coal and other energy sources, but because of the threat posed by it for the climate change, there has been a focus on the renewable energy sources. Renewable energy sources. So what is renewable energy? So the energy sources can be renewed. For example, we have geothermal, we have the multi-purpose dams. We are producing current from the multi-purpose dams, etc. Solar energy, the wind energy, etc. are different types of renewable energies. So this biofuels are part of the renewable energy. Why? The organic matter will be produced again and again, right? There won't be end to the organic matter. So from this organic matter, if we are able to, organic matter means it can be plants or animals. So from these organic matter, we are able to produce fuel that is called as biofuels. Okay, so these, a part of biofuel is the bioethanol. So bioethanol is a form of biofuel. Okay, so where did the Prime Minister has inaugurated this plant? In the Golaghat district of Assam. It is very important because in any competitive exam, you will be asked this question, Golaghat district of Assam. Okay, so what is its position or standard? So it is the world's 2G generation bamboo-based bioethanol facilities. So there are generations in the biofuels. It belongs to the second generation. So what is the significance? It is the first bamboo-based ethanol plant. Okay, so the ethanol is produced from the bamboo plants. So ethanol can also be produced from corn, from sugarcane, from sugar beets, and etc. other bioproducts. Using these products through the process of fermentation, we are obtaining ethanol from the plants. Okay, so these are the sources. Now we are producing the bioethanol from the bamboo. Okay, so who is developing this? It is a joint project of Numaligarh Refinery Limited. Okay, and the Fortum, a company from Finland, and the Chempolis Oy, a company from Finland. So this is a joint project which is a joint venture of these important companies, right? So what is the raw material? Obviously we have been discussing it is the every year 5 lakh tons of green bamboo is being used. 5 lakh tons of green bamboo will be used and for the production of the ethanol. So, supply sources. Who is supplying us the bamboo? It is sourced from the Assam, Arunachal Pradesh and other northeastern states. Okay, so the northeastern states are very much geographically supporting the production of the bamboo plants. So they will be procuring the sources from these northeastern states. Right. So what is the other legal things, legal context you need to remember? So under the Indian Forest Act 1927. So 1927 means pre-independence era. So at that act, bamboo was considered as a tree, but botanically means based on the plant science, it is a grass. Based on the plant science, bamboo is a grass, but according to Indian Forest Act 1927, it is considered as a tree. Okay, so the 2017 amendment to this act removed bamboo as a tree under the section 2 clause 7, but only in non-forest areas. Okay, but in forest areas, bamboo is still a tree. Bamboo is a tree in forest areas. So you need to remember this. The examiner will trick you with this type of questions. So the 2017 amendment to this Indian Forest Act made bamboo a not grass in the non-forest areas. Okay. So coming to the next important article, we have the STAR missile. So the STAR missile, which is developed by the DRDO, the Defense Research and Development Organization. So this is one of the prime institutions for the defense related research and development, manufacturing, etc. DRDO is a very crucial or critical wing of our military. Okay, so it has prepared the STAR missile. Okay, so this is, what is the purpose? So this is a high speed target missile. Okay, so STAR means speed target. Okay, so it is a high speed, very high speed target missile to simulate realistic threats for training Indian Army forces. So recently we have been attacks from the Pakistan, right? So to train our Indian Army, we are simulating our environment. Okay, we are simulating our environment with the threats. So we are only releasing the missiles and the Indian Army will try to counteract it so that it will be a training. In any near future, we should be able to prepare ourselves with such kind of missiles. So we are only releasing the missiles so that the army will get trained. Okay, that is the purpose. So we are simulating threats by ourselves for the training purpose. Okay, so this missile does not destroy the targets, but it mimics the enemy missiles to help practice real-time interception. So the Indian Army must be ready to interact or counteract the real-time interceptions. So that is how we are making this STAR missile. So it will not destroy anything, but it will provide an ambience so that our army can help in getting trained. Okay. What are the important things we need to know about the STAR missile? It is of two types. Number one, air-launched STAR missile and ground-launched STAR missile. So these missiles can be introduced from air and also from the ground surface through truck-mounted mobile system deployable from shorelines or remote zones. So from the coastal shorelines or from remote areas in forest, in desert areas, we can deploy the STAR missiles from that area. Okay, so what is the speed? Speed is the Mach 1.8 to 2.5, which is of supersonic. What is supersonic? Whenever the speed is more than 1 Mach, So 1 Mach is the speed of sound. Speed of sound. Okay, so whenever there is more than the speed of sound, then that speed is called as supersonic speed. So what is the speed of the star missile? 1.8 to 2.5 Mach. So 1 Mach is equal to 1234.8 kilometer per hour. Okay, so this is the speed of Mach. So it is almost the double the speed. Okay, so what is the altitude range? So let's say what is the altitude range? It is from 100 meters to 10 kilometer altitude. Okay, so it can operate from a height, altitude means height, from 100 to 100 meters to 10 kilometers of height. Okay, so it can also attack from a height of 30,000 plus feet. So from the ground, more than 30,000 feet, it can attack, it can dive the attacks. So these are some important features which are related to the star missile developed indigenously by the DRDO. Okay. So can it destroy? No, it is just for simulation purpose. It is just for training the Indian Army. Okay. So that they can have a real-time counteraction against the enemy missiles. So that's all for today. So please like and subscribe to our channel so that you can get regular updates on our current affairs. Okay. Thank you.